Hey, ladies and gents, we're back with some Avorion, and this is episode B or three. B, not B. It's not B. It's three. Beginning of, and I will get the fucking playlist done, guys. Just give me some time. Still, kind of just hanging out here. So, where are we at in the game so far? Last time we left, we were still running around in this little thing, and we're still not running around this thing anymore. We've moved on to bigger and better things. However, I'll bring up the map for you. My general strategy in this game is to, once I get out of this general starting area, I try to get up to Trinium or Neonite as quick as possible. Even using this small ship, you can get all the way up to Neonite, because this one wormhole right here took me up to the Neonite area, and I was able to get Neonite right away, which are important for shields and hyperspace jump engines, or hyperspace cores. This is the reason why you try to go to Neonite as quick as possible. So, once I get to this point right here and I start mining Neonite and I upgrade my ship, I start dropping essentially what these are is small miner ships. This was the original one I started out with. Now it is a miner. Now, there's a couple different kinds of mining lasers in this game. One of them is, of course, this is just a regular titanium mining, which it refines the material directly into resources. The other one, of course, is the R type, which is, do I even have one in left yet here? R mining laser, which is you get quite a bit more efficiency, like 88% compared to 17. But requires that you have a cargo hold to carry it, and you have to take it to a resource depot to refine it. Early in the game, I usually don't use those too much. I use just the typical regular, normal mining laser. And by leaving it and just letting it run, which I do here, I've got 151,050 titanium. I have two of these ships. And they will simply just move from sector to sector and mine, and I don't have to come back. I don't have to make them go to resource depots and all kind of stuff. Because early game, honestly, it's hard to do that with a jump ranger like this. However, now that I've got up here, I'm going to start building our mining ships, because I have Neonite and Trinium now to be able to jump bigger distances. So it's easier to move your ship around in these locations where I have to jump 7 or 8 sectors to get to a resource depot, instead of using these small jump ranges. So I typically don't start building the R salvage type miners until I get to Neonite. However, these little tiny ones, I have one here as well and one here as well, work perfectly fine for getting early material. I just start making them and dropping off as I go. So, and the other thing I use them for, I should remind, is I use them for explorers. You can find radar upgrades all over the place. They're usually in stations, equipment docks, and all that kind of stuff. So I usually find these, and I just simply put them on there. So when I'm way up here doing my thing, I'm still exploring these regions of space using these mining ships, because it's showing me an unknown hidden mass sector, and I can jump into that with a probe, find out, maybe I can pick up a quick asteroid and some cash. I can still use these little mining ships to explore this area of space while I'm doing something up here. It's kind of one of those things you want to leave behind. Eventually I won't need these, and I'll come back and just simply delete them. Same way with the lasers on them. These lasers are super cheap. You can pick them up for, this one's, you can pick them up for like 10,000 credits. So they're not hard. You just buy some real simple, cheap titanium mining lasers or iron, whatever, and that's all you're going to collect. I'm just collecting this. This thing's been running for an hour, along with its other sister ship, so I've already 151,000 iron out of it, and 51,000 titanium, maybe 2 hours, I guess. So they're collecting materials even though as I'm doing my stuff. So it's always something to remember when you're doing this. Just build some cheap mining ships just to get the materials rolling. And they don't, you just need a captain and 2 miners on these ships to make them work. Real simple. In fact, it's probably going to eventually go over there and mine that titanium for me, right? So the whole point of moving up into here, of course, is to get the materials and whatnot to make a better ship. And I've already had pre-designs. Obviously, I've played the game quite a few times, quite a few hours. So once I get from this, and this is what I'll explain with the whole ship design thing, is once I get from this ship to my next ship, which will be this one, we're going to build him here. As soon as we found him, we're going to turn on the alliance. Now, I've created alliance for a reason, because if you don't, and this has to do with the Diplo, you yourself, Z3M, which is myself, have a different diplomacy to the group or to the faction that you're in. These ships up here are part of the alliance. They have a different diplomacy to the faction that they are in. So as quick as you can, once you get your 5,000 credits, whatever, starting an alliance is a good thing. I have to put these ships into the alliance eventually, but right now I have no really need for them because I'm not back here doing anything. However, building an alliance right away, you can separate the two, and you're going to make sure that your diplomacy is the same, because once you switch over to making a faction, sometimes your diplomatic relations with the faction that you're in will change. So you might be good, like right now I'm good with these guys, but once I switch to the alliance, this might change. And actually I know it does, it changes. So you want to get into an alliance as quick as possible for that reason. And there's another reason to get an alliance, and we'll go through that in a different video, but that helps that if you're going to do an alliance thing, you're going to build a bunch of ships and all that kind of stuff. There's a real good reason why we use an alliance. It has to do with pirating, but I'll explain that in a different video. But trying to get into an alliance as quick as possible. That way, as each new faction you explore, your alliance ships are always going to be good. Are always going to be golden. You're always going to be able to stay. And that, and if I, like I said, with these, I can stay. The relay stations can stay Z3M, and my regular ships can stay Shrike Empire. And I'll explain that, and like I said, later on as we get into the game, the difference between the Z3M persona and the Shrike Empire. So now we've moved away from it. We've collected my material that I needed to build my next ship, and that's what we're going to build here, or give you an idea of what my next ship's going to be. So we'll go call this one. We can always change the name later. Call it Excalibur. Alright, so we'll found my ship here. And this is what I did before I jumped into the next section. And we'll look at the next ship that I'm playing out at the Fringes base. But right now I'm going to show you what I did here. I collected, it requires 16,000 titanium to go from the ship design I'm using there to the ship design that I'm using further out, which is that one right there, 16,173 titanium. So I flew around in this region of space until I got enough titanium. And this is something important when you're building your ship. Don't just wildly fly off into space. I did not take off up into this area until I got my next ship. And I wanted to make sure it was big enough and powerful enough that I was not going to get wrecked as I went further into space. So, I flew around, hit all these areas, collected my mineable asteroids, sold them, made the cash, and of course I just kept mining titanium until I had enough 16,000 roughly to do it here. So now, since this is an alliance ship, I don't have enough titanium, so we're going to have to move some titanium. This is one of the other disadvantages of being the titanium, or being the alliance versus not. So I'm going to have to deposit it. I need about, let's say, what's 29,999 titanium in here. So now I have 29,999 titanium to build my ship. So I needed 16,000. I got a little extra credit. So I had 94,000. I have 62. So I need to deposit some more money into this. So right now all my money and stuff and credits are in the Z3M account. I'm depositing stuff from Z3M into the alliance, hence why this is an alliance ship. So we're going to deposit another 330,000 because I hit the wrong button. All right, so we're going to get some more credits there. So we're just depositing from the Z3M account into the alliance account. Eventually I'll just move everything over to the alliance except for a small portion that I'm going to use for the Z3M because I still have to pay crews on both sides. All right, so we're going to build this ship, and we've applied the design. Yeah, that's the ship I used to take off into my next journey. I flew around until I found a wormhole. There's a reason why I find these wormholes and take the time to do it, because they jump you a long ways ahead. Now, do you imagine having to jump all the way through here with your little tiny ship until you get to the Neonite section? That's why spending the time to find the wormholes, because there's a wormhole in every one of these factions that'll jump you ahead. So then when I got up to here, I hit the Neonite, got lucky, I jumped across here till I found the next wormhole, got in that wormhole, and jumped even further into the Tritium section. So yeah, that's the reason you spend your time and effort to find these wormholes, because they will make your trip so much faster. And they're going to be found inside of one of these faction sectors systems. So that just jumped me across a whole bunch of space I did not have to deal with. And in fact, it jumped me so far, it jumped me directly into the Neonite, and I was able to find Neonite in the very first system I went into. So this was a real quick thing. However, I still want to make sure that this ship that I'm heading out into the Tritium, the Neonite section, is plenty strong enough. And we're going to look at the actual specs on this thing, which is 16,513 HP. I spent the time and effort to find the titanium to big enough that this thing's going to be powerful enough to deal with the next section of space I'm going into. So spend the time to build the titanium. Now, the other problem with this is that if you're really super into this whole thing, ship stats, I'm not. I never have been. It depends on what you're playing with your collision model. Now, the collision model is pretty simple. You play it on full. Everything you run into is going to wreck your ship. I don't play at that level. I don't like that when I run into something accidentally losing half my ship. So I usually play 0.5, 0.25. I play on the lower end of the collision model. Hence why my ships, when I build a ship, I don't really worry so much about acceleration and deceleration, yaw left and right, all that kind of stuff. I don't worry about it as much. I tend to go a little bit more heavily armored than mobility-wise. If you play on the higher collision models, you want to make sure your acceleration, deceleration is pretty close to the same. So deceleration should be the same as acceleration, or roughly close to a 1-to-1. That's the big difference. If you don't want to spend the time, you don't want to do all that kind of stuff, then you can drop the collision model down so you don't have to worry about your ship getting wrecked. That's fine. So, went from that the first ship, Durandal, to this ship, which is the 16,513 HP. Now, we are going to leave this here because I don't need it right now because I have another ship already further up. So we're going to turn this guy back on. We're going to send him back to mining. He's going to run off and start mining more stuff. We'll leave this ship here. We're not even going to put a crew on it. So what happens when you don't put a crew on this ship? It'll slowly deteriorate. It'll start losing HP. You have to have mechanics. You have to have mechanics and engineers, and you have to have mechanics on here to keep this thing up. If you don't have mechanics, it'll slowly start to deteriorate. Now you can put mechanics on there and it'll help it out. You can crew it, but you're going to pay that crew, right? And I don't feel like paying the crew right now, so I'm not going to put anything on it. We're just going to leave this here until I need it later on. Because what I typically do as I move up through the systems, I'm going to come back here and start raiding, because this is the low end of the tech tree, or the low end of the material tree. So if I have a tritium ship back in this sector, I'm going to be kind of a badass. So leaving it here, and then as I keep moving my other ship further into it, I'm going to use materials and eventually turn this into something that's quite a bit stronger. So I will be able to start raiding in this area. I'll go up one of these long lines, get to a different area, raid. So we're going to leave this ship here until we get some more tritium to turn it into a little bit more of a badass, specifically. So that's my general strategy as I work over here. So we got this ship built, and that was the ship I used to jump into the next section. So we are going to leave, like I said, we're going to leave him here. We're not going to crew him. He can stay here. There shouldn't be too much. As long as I'm not in system, the pirates really won't mess with this ship too much. And honestly, you're with 20 or 1 point, or with the amount of hull on this thing, you're not going to have to worry about it. You can, of course, if you have the money, you can put the crew on it. I'm just not going to right now. So let's jump back out to where I'm at right now. I've jumped through the wormhole with this ship. I went up here, discovered Neonite, and of course I started to change my ship and with the Neonite with more radar, with more jump engines or jump hyperspace core and shields. And I've jumped further ahead once I built that ship, got the once I got the shields and once the hyperspace, then I started continued to move forward. And it's kind of got to follow progression here. If you get too far ahead of yourself, and I'll show you what's going to happen if you get too far ahead of yourself. Now, as I went, I kept leaving relay stations here. There's a reason why I leave relay stations at every equipment dock, because there's always something there you could possibly buy. And we're going to switch to this relay station. I've left relay stations, relay ships at every equipment dock, so I can come back and look at what's in the equipment dock in case I got to buy or I need something particular system. Now, what's nice is they've changed this now. It used to be you didn't get much RNG. You would actually have to log out of the game for it to respawn new material. Now it's pretty much respawning every time you jump into system. There's new stuff at the equipment dock. So we're going to roll up to this equipment dock, and this is where the diplomacy thing is going to come in. We're going to talk about the diplomacy too. To better your diplomacy in the game, you either got to buy stuff from this faction, or sell stuff to this faction, or help with pirates and all that kind of stuff. We're going to roll up here, and we're going to see what this. We're at good relationship right now with this thing, so that means I can buy whatever I want. If you don't have good relationship with this faction, you are not going to be able to buy the high-end equipment. So right now we have a control armed turret. Oh, that looks pretty decent. Neonite mining, I maybe have to buy that. Double Trinia, double titanium salvaging, double laser. Nothing that's really catches my eye. Same with fighters. Torpedoes I can't pick up anyway. Just systems and turrets is pretty much what you can pick up, and of course utilities if you want them. Or I can sell some of the stuff I got that I don't need anymore, and stuff I pick up as I salvage the deal. So there's nothing here. I might be able to pick some up. Maybe pick up this +3 armed. We'll buy one of those since it was 30% off. Okay, so we're left this guy. We're going to jump to our next relay ship, and we're going to see what's in this equipment. And this is going to be the difference right here. So that was a good relationship. That means I could buy whatever was inside their equipment dock. Now this faction, I have not built up. I'm still neutral with them, and what this does is leaves me unable to buy the real high-end turrets and systems. So I'm working on at least getting my relationship up to good with this faction, so I can buy the higher-end weapons and the systems from these guys. So we're going to jump over here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so trade equipment, and you can see here what I'm talking about. So shield reinforcer, these are rare exceptionals. I can't buy them because I don't have a good relationship. However, I can buy the other stuff that's not rare and exceptional. Same way with turrets. There's a defense light. I can't, of course, buy it because I have to be at least good to buy rare or better military equipment. Same way with the Tesla coil, which would be not too bad, 120. I would definitely use one of those. However, I don't have my relationship good enough. So I'm trying to continue to improve my relationship with this faction because right now they have some pretty decent equipment. Or I'm in this part of space. I want to get this kind of equipment here. So there's my main ship right there, the Dakota. I'm jumping through here this area and buying or selling them asteroids to get a better relationship with them. I'm using their jump gates. Therefore, I'm giving them money because it creates better relationships. I'm fighting pirates for them if they jump into system, which creates a better relationship. So I'm trying to build my relationship up here with the diplomacy-wise. Now, the diplomacy seems to be a little bit stickler right now for some reason. It's saying I'm neutral with this side, corporate of whatever, and it's sitting at negative 321 relationship because this is Z3M. This is my persona as Z3M. My alliance relationship is much better, and this is what I was talking about, the difference between having an alliance and being yourself. So we're going to jump out of here. Eventually, I'll have to turn this into an alliance ship just to get the better deals. Now, if I jump up here to the ship that I'm in, we'll switch to the Dakota, and you'll see the difference in the diplomacy between my alliance. And I left this apart just to show this for the video. You have to keep, if you're in a specific part of place, especially if you're in a faction, you want to try to get that diplomacy up so you can buy the better equipment, specifically weapons or systems and weapon systems. If you don't, you're never going to get the high-end stuff, which is what you really want. So it's not a bad thing to spend the time, because jumping around, you're going to find, so this is the ship I would have started out at the beginning with, jumping into these systems, and there's some neonite, which of course makes it a lot better. Now I'm a much better relationship with this guy, with diplomacy. See, there's the diplomacy. My relationship is 15,000. That's what the alliance is with this one, and Z3M I'm negative 322. So yeah, there's the difference between being, so they're always going to be different. So if you're going to create an alliance, make sure you create it early, for obvious reasons. So I got to keep getting my relationships better up till I get up to good to be able to start buying the better equipment from these guys. Right now, let's see here. I found, there he is right there. We'll switch to this craft. Of course, you'll know, you understand what I'm saying. To get the better equipment, you have to have a better relationship. So I've been kind of just screwing around here, fighting pirates, claiming asteroids, using their jump gates and that kind of stuff. So we're interacting between each other, buying material from them, going to one of their resource depots and buying resources from them is the same way. Or even doing simple trading with them will increase your standings with this faction. So spend the time to do that as much as possible. And I was also lucky enough to find another wormhole. This wormhole kicked me all the way up into the Trinium area up here. I took this gate, the original, because you want to use some of the gates. A lot of times you want to use the gate because you get these rifts in space, and to go all the way around them takes a huge amount of time. So if you find a gate to jump the rift, like I did here, do that, because you're going to spend, if you continued, you might have to go all the way up here. And if you take the wrong direction, you could waste quite a bit of time before you get around this. So if you run into one of these rifts in space, make sure you try to find a place that you can jump the rift with a jump gate. Simple, right? And it, of course, also helps with the faction. You should have no problem making money off of just claiming asteroids. So, we are still making this thing better little by little. Now we're going to jump into the build mode, and I've had to change out a few things too as the ship went. You can see now that I have actual shields, which are from using neonite, and my hull is up to 17,000. And of course, my hyperspace reach has jumped out to 6.1 sectors, so quite a bit more than what it was. The other reason I keep forgetting to talk about is when you want to get up into this section here, once you reach the neonite area, you will be able to buy torpedoes. Torpedoes, and we'll actually cover torpedoes, and then the reason why we're buying torpedoes is early game, your guns are not really that great. Right now, these are some electricals, and they produce 270 Omicron. Torpedoes are, depending on what you're using, 3.4K, 2.7, there's a 2.7, there's a 2.7 plus 8.2 shield. These are your biggest weapons that you can buy at this level. And they're going to come in handy when we go back and start killing some of the early bosses. Otherwise, you're going to spend a whole bunch of time with these little weapons trying to kill a boss with 2 or 3,000, maybe 4 or 5,000 HP. So it's one of the reasons why when you get into the neonite section, you want to start picking up torpedoes. It just increases your range, increases your destructibility. They don't work all the time on every ship, but they do help. Once you get further into the game, when you get better and better weapons, torpedoes kind of become, you don't really need them because you already have something that's half the range, but it fires and doesn't cost you a dime. But we're going to go through torpedoes in a different video. So it's time to upgrade this ship. I went out, I was able to pick up enough trinium to upgrade this to the next level. And that's real simple here. What we're going to do is Modifier my entire ship here. We're going to use the trinium to modify it. So what it's going to do is it's going to cost me 26,000 trinium. I have 29. And the 13,000, I'm going to gain these back. So I don't lose this material. I mean, I don't get it all back, and I get back some of my credits. You don't get all this stuff back, any more materials or credits, but you do get back most of it. So we're going to apply this ship. Now you're going to watch, because the trinium is the most important material in the game when it comes to shipbuilding. You're going to watch these numbers over here change, because trinium is quite a bit lighter, even than titanium. So we're going to apply that, and you can see, of course, the numbers change over here. And of course, my hull jumped up to 38,000, and my shield jumped up to 14,000 just by changing material. Yeah, much better, much better. So we are sitting ready to go. I don't have black yet. I don't know why colors are a thing in this game, but yeah. So now our ship has become more maneuverable, more powerful, just by changing, going to that next set of materials. And this is why I always push to go from the naonite to the trinium. But there is a problem with that. As you progress further through the game, and we're going to find out our little, where is our wormhole? Wormhole, where are you, my little friend? Ah, there he is. He's sparkling right there. We are going to jump up into the trinium level, because now I'm reached the trinium level, or I could even do it here. I'm going to start building a R minor ship, and I want it in the region or space where I'm going to use the most amount of materials, which of course is the trinium. So we're going to start using the R miners. We're going to leave those other miners back there. I might move them up into the naonite section. I'll just go back, delete them, and then move them up into the next section here. So we've moved into here. Now you'll see what happens, right? The fact that I've jumped this far up into space, you'll start seeing these warning signs. It says, your ship is weak compared to other ships in this region. If you want to survive in combat, you should arm it better, add shields, or extend it. Before I switched to trinium, I was getting a red triangle. The red triangle tells me that I'm way too weak, and if I spend too much time in this space with that red triangle, a persecutor fleet will start chasing you. They will try to kill you and take your, everything. That persecutor fleet is kind of a pain in the ass, because it will continue to follow you for 2 systems. So the system that you're in and the next system you jump in, it'll continue following you, launching torpedoes as it goes. And it'll continue to screw with you as you go. So it's something to remember, is that you can't necessarily jump into these far reaches. Right now, like I said, it's still yellow. If it turns red, then we're into some deep shit. Because the longer we stay red, and the more systems you jump into with red, persecutors will show up and kill you, or try to kill you. So you want to make sure you want to continue to upgrade your ship with the new materials and the best weapons you can as we move up. So this is a perfect system for me for my R minor. There is a massive trinium asteroids here. Yep, and there's a claimable asteroid over there to make some money, because this system being that, or this faction being that it's in the trinium level, I want to make good with this. They're going to have some really good equipment. And there's their home system. And if you don't know how to find out a home system in this game, you simply look for a freighter of this. There's a freighter of this system, and you push F, and you ask them, where's your home system? And it'll tell you where is home system. The reason I want to go to the home system is I know for sure there's going to be an equipment that sells equipment in that system. I know for sure. I'm not going to have to jump around. I know for sure there's one there. And in this space, I'm going to pick up some really nice turrets. So if I get this system to good and spend the time, and I get the turrets from there, I'm going to take the turrets and systems I buy way over here, and I'm going to install it on the ship that we left back here, right there, the Excalibur. We're going to install those systems. We're going to put them on weapons and systems on here, and then we're going to come back here and we're going to start jumping up these long, down these long wormholes, and we're going to start raiding. We're going to start making some serious cash. However, I want a strong enough ship made out of trinium with trinium level weapons and trinium level systems to do that. And that was kind of the whole point. That's the whole strategy, is to do that. Just to be able to keep moving. So we're into a pretty decent area. We're going to leave it for the night. We're at 30 minutes for this video. Hope you guys understand all the rambling I did. Oh, there he is. I didn't realize with the last couple changes is the number of mega asteroids. If you keep jumping in, there's seriously just a ton of these mega asteroids everywhere. These huge blocks of material, which is awesome for early people, early game, fighting and all that kind of stuff, to make up the difference of having to jump from system to system and doing one little tiny asteroid to get a little bit of material. They have these big ones now, which is awesome. So with that said, guys, you guys have a good night, and thanks for watching.